Welcome to session number 5. Now, communicating with different stakeholders typically require different outputs. Now, Archicad, through the use of graphic overrides, enables different graphical representations to be produced from a single element within Archicad without the need to put multiple elements in place to get different outputs. Now, this is really important in terms of optimizing and streamlining the delivery process and using the one single model to produce different outputs. Now today, Barbora Nemeckyova, and I'll get Barbara's name right one day. I always struggle with surnames for some reason. From Fulton Trotter Architects will help you rule the graphics today. So now I'll hand you over to Barbora. Thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, thanks Nathan for the introduction. So let's jump in. Some graphic overrides. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this tool exists. Some people might find this presentation super easy, but for some people it might be useful. So I'd like to show you a couple of ways how you can use this tool. And so in the first half of the presentation, we will see how can you use the graphic overrides for checking our models and our 2Ds. So we are going to check for static dimensions, then in very simple way to see if our doors comply with our disabled access toilets. We are going to look for missing attribute. We can check the layers with graphic overrides. And the last bit is about the visual 3D check. So we can compare consultants' 3D models against architectural model. We can compare the shop drawings against architectural model or consultants with the shop drawings or whatever. So let's jump in. So first is the static dimension. So here I have a little sample project to show you. So how can we see the static dimensions here in this project? Because the danger of having a static dimension is that when we move wall, the danger is that this wall will move. This dimension will move. Probably moving different wall. So see that will stay the dimension. So that means that the dimension is static. And we can even see it when you moving the dimension node. It's the cursor has a little square around it. That means it's a static dimension, but I can change that and link that dimension to the wall, and you can see the cursor is changing to circle. All right, so that's a little bit out of topic, but it's just the difference between static and linked dimension. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's just see first where the graphic override lives. So it lives when you go through the document menu and just down there's the graphic overrides, and you can see all the combinations you can use, or go into settings, open a tab, and here we go, graphic overrides, settings, tab. Another way, there is always multiple ways how to do one thing in Archicad. In the quick options at the bottom, it depends how your work environment is set. You can click and quickly change your graphical overrides over here, or go to settings by clicking on the little button. It will open exactly the same thing. So graphic override combination is exactly the same setup as in layers and layer combinations. So we've got layer and graphic override combinations on your left, and then we've got our rules within those combinations on your right. Exactly like layers, you've got your layer combination and layers, single layers. So we can create a new combinations by clicking on a new button and name it, or we can duplicate already existing combination. That's how you create. Let's look at the static dimensions I have created for this presentation. So we can see when I click on the combination, we've got the rules, a set of rules on the right hand side. Okay, so to access the rule, you can go and click on three dots at the end, or click Edit Rules. If you need to put a new rule to it, add to it, you can pick from the options, or when you scroll down, you are going to create a new rule. But let's just look at the static dimensions rule. This is a very easy rule, and I'm pretty sure everyone done scheduling. So it's exactly the same scenario. You add your criteria, and then you just tell Archicad what you want to override. So I'm telling Archicad, override all dimensions and annotation state is static, and please override only the line with red color. And at the bottom, you can override pen color only, or you can override the thickness. I don't really care whatever for this combination, because I'm not going to issue this combination as a part of my set, drafting set, so I don't really mind whatever. You just keep in mind, got the option there. Click OK. And another thing, another rules I have placed is all drafting fields are transparent, all cover fields are solid background, and all cut fields are black. Or that's actually wrong, because I have modified that rule. So they are like light gray. So light gray. The reason why I am doing it is because I want my mistake to pop up. Okay, click OK, and now the layer combination, graphic combination is set, and we can see I got few of the dimensions static. So what I can do, I can fix the problem, or I can leave it as it is. So let me just link. Oops. Okay, I'll just leave it. I completely missed the wall. That's all right. Completely missed the wall as well. That's all right. Okay, and I think this is let's just do a last bit, and you can see the dimension has been linked to the walls. So now it turned to itself gray. And that's it. It's very easy to start with. And let's just move to another topic. Okay, let's see what's the next one. Disable access doors check. Okay, so this is very simple rule. Some people might like it, some people might hate it, I don't know. But it's just I feel like the drafting person, it forces you to check after yourself what you draw. So let's see what I've done, what rule I have, what combination I have used. So I'm going to apply the compliance combination, and this combination again has the walls and the floors of light gray, solid background. So my mistakes and the areas I want to focus on is highlighted. So let's look at the tool rules. So firstly, door compliance is the strongest rule, so it lives on the top. And I'm telling Archicad element type is door. The handicap accessible door is true, and if width it's not the wall opening width is less or more than 1070, highlight the door to be red. Okay. The zones, the purple zones are simple. I'm just telling Archicad all zones with the category WC. Please override the field type with 50% transparency, and I'm only activating the drafting cover field and cut fields. The drafting fields are not highlighted, so that's not going to be overrided, but we're only overriding zones. It doesn't have a drafting field, so yeah, it's really necessary as well to activate it. And field foreground is pinkish, and field background is transparent. That's why the transparency is on. All right. And the other rules are my rules to just tone down the background of things I'm not interested in. So here we go. So it highlighted all the red areas, sorry, and we can see that these two doors are not complying. This is 950 width and 970. So what I can do, because I was lazy, I was probably grabbing the door from the tool here, but at FTA we've got our template which has already everything preset. So if I just double click on the favorite, it will change the correct door size. And straight away the door is switched to gray one. So I have fixed my mistake. So it's basically the same as the static dimension principle. Here we go. So next one, we will do missing attributes and layer check. So I'll put these two together. So let's just jump in, change it to missing attributes view. Here we go. So that's going to be 3D. Okay, so that's 3D, and I'm looking for a missing attribute. Missing attribute means that that element is missing a building material or something. So it is now missing building material probably. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply missing attribute graphical overrides. So here we go. I can see all the red elements are missing attribute. So let's look at the rule. So first and the most powerful rule is show me all types and everything which with missing attribute, which is true. And I'm going to use this graphical combination in 3D. So I'm only interested in surface and override it to be red. So it pops up. The second rule, cardboard model, element type is 3D, and override it as a not applicable. This surface is basically a surface with a transparent surface. Yeah. And override lines, the outline of the objects to be light gray, and this is for 2D. I can actually switch it off. I can only leave the line marker. Okay. Okay. So nothing has changed. I just changed the 2D. I want to show you as well, if I switch these rules, what happened. Because I have switched, now this is more powerful rule. That's why it's overpowering the below one. So sometimes it happens. So try to maybe move your rules around and think which rule is the most important rule to see. So, and that should work. And I'm going to switch it back. Here we go. So let's find out what attribute is this trust missing. And here we go, it's missing, so I'll just add something to it. Just the not important at the moment, and it will disappear. It's translucent, but I can see I have fixed my missing attribute of my trusses because they were grouped. So I pretty much changed them all together. Then let's move on the layer check. So this graphic override combination is exactly the same as with the static dimensions. So very easy. So when I go here, I am telling Archicad this rule, show me all types, and I don't want anything in my documentation to sit on Archicad layer. And I'm overriding show it as red, so line, marker, and text pen is red. And if there are fills, cut fills, drafting fills, please highlight them in red color as well. And also, I want the background, the element which are not affected, to go to the back and just disappear. Just one my mistake. I'm going to change this wall to be different one. I'm going to remove and add light gray. All cut fills light gray. Here we go. And now I can see a little bit better what is sitting on Archicad layer. So I can now change that to something text plan. Oh no. And now it sits on a correct layer and turn itself gray. Okay, next, 3D visual check. So let's look at that. I have a model of 3D shop drawings, still shop drawings, and I've got consultants, a mechanical 3D model in this file. So what I'll do, I'm going to bring consultant structural engineer steel model. Here we are. So how do we do that? So I'm going to bring hot link. Here we go. File. Place hot link. So I'm going to give it a master ID, and you will understand few moments later. Let me just come up with a name, which is the hardest part. I'll do this engineer structural. Okay. Select module. Okay, come on. New module, structural, select, all stories, select, and place hot link. Change it to undercraft. Okay. In Hotlink, the structural. So let's look in the 3D. Okay, so what I would like to do, the graphic combination, is to override the whole structural model with different color. We'll look at it. I'm going to create new rule. So I'll just have to scroll down. Create new rule. I'll call it structural linear. Okay. And what I would like to do is element type is all types, and master ID. I think master ID is and structural, and I'm going to override it to be orange, and override the lines as well to be orange. Here we go, and I'm activating the uncuts and cuts as well. So if we cut through, the cuts will be orange as well. Click OK, OK, and now everything should be orange to the whole model. And now I can go and visually check if I have anything to worry. And I can see that the shop drawing, they use different beam sizes. Here we go. Or they didn't, but it's wrong height. So clash, just visually going through the model and having two bright colors assigned to different model. Another way, I don't know, this it's not a check, but it's just, I guess, visually represent load bearing and unload bearing elements. So what I can do, just apply load bearing graphic override combination. I can see my columns. This wall is load bearing and everything else is non-load bearing. And I can do that in 3D as well. So a couple of seconds to open the model in 3D. I just want to show you the cut and the uncut. So at the moment, we only have a cut. If I'll activate that, it will turn the load-bearing elements into green. It's not right. Yeah. That's, the slabs are definitely not load-bearing, this little slab here. So I can change that. But let's do a cut through. Oh my god, where's this cut? Here you go. And I am going to change that, deactivate, show me the uncut surface green, and just leave the cuts as green. There we go. And now in 3D I can see the cuts green and non-load bearing blue. Just wanted to show you the difference between cut and uncut overriding, graphic overrides. Okay, so this is that's the end to our first part of the presentation, first half of our presentation. I hope you liked it. This is just a suggestion how you could use graphic overrides to help you to check your model and your plans. You might come up with amazing combination, and if you would share it somewhere, that would be great. The next part of the presentation is about helping you present your model to your team or to your client. So let's start with the massing. So we still have a project, and the project have existing building and have another building next to it, and they have different levels. So to explain it to client, how the building's actually functioning is, and the difference between levels is to make it simple and just color code it. So let's open this elevation. And when I look at the rules, we made that elevation look sketchy. So we override all the lines with sketch line. That's a simple rule. And then we have overwritten element all the slabs because the mass was created with the slabs. So, and we set up those rules. So if the element hits the rule, it overrides itself as a orange. And so on, so on. So we've got green, purple, and blue. Okay, and that was very easy for client to understand how the two buildings work together. Here I just want to showcase that you can use your graphical overrides in 3D and in 3D window as well. So when we go into open source view, we have a simple massing presentation. Everyone loves good axonometry model. So here we go, generic axonometry, and then you can do your, how you do video axonometry, do the lines down, like I've done in 3D. Interesting thing I find out with when you're placing a view from the 3D window, it's very pixelated. You can make it look a little bit better, sharper by adjusting your window size. So when we open the source view, so we are generating axonometry. So when I go into settings, it's telling me the res of this window resolution 300 dpi, and the size of it is 4000 times 2250 pixels. So what I've done, I simply go into set window size. You set the window. I'll just show you. Oops. Okay, so it's linked. And I'll do 4000. Click OK. And that window jumps up because it doesn't fit onto my screen anymore. But then I can save that, redefine with current window settings. Here we go. And that view is saved. Only that view has the high resolution, and you can place it so the lines are a little bit sharper. That's a little tip there. These graphic overrides obviously work on your schedule as well. So when we go into the schedule, I have placed show me 2D plan preview, element ID, and area. So the plan preview is just because it's slab, it just shows you little squares. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply, because it has no graphic override. So in the view settings, I'm going to apply story graphic overrides, and that will have that area color coded basically. And I can update. Come on. Right, there you go. I think that's a bug in Archicad. I'm not sure. Does anyone have the schedule? It just resizes itself, the text, and then you just have to click out of it, click back, and update it. Okay, so this might be helpful as a presentation tool for a client understanding the messing, and you don't have to go to different softwares to apply those simple lines or colors, to color in Photoshop or Illustrator. You can do it straight in Archicad. Okay, so let's jump to renovation. We all know how this tool works, but with graphic overrides, they're kind of working together. So at the moment, I've got existing and demolition renovation filter on, but I can't see my demolish elements in different color. Everything is same, and that's because I have my graphic overrides activated. So there is a graphic override on it, so it beats the renovation filter basically. So when I do no overrides, now I can see what is going to be demolished in 3D and what will stay. So to change the graphic overrides of the renovation filter, you have to go through the renovation filter settings. So when I open it, one of my quick options, or renovation, document, renovation filter options, and I have to click graphic override rules here to be able to override the red color in 3D. So I might go and do not applicable, which is just translucent color. And click OK, and click OK. And now all the demolished elements are just like translucent with red line outline. So if I would go via the graphic overrides, see, you cannot access the renovation filter. Graphic overrides. Hope this makes sense. There you go. So with graphic override rules from there, you can access all the elements and you can override them, but you cannot change this. You can only change how do you see it in 2D or 3D. With help of graphic overrides, we can also express how the building is going to be built. So we have stages. So when I have created stages, and I nominated pink color to be built first, then we have a purple to be built second, and then we have a car park at the back built as in a stage 3. So let's look at the rules. So stage 1, element type is 3D, and node generally rating is stage 1. So whatever I model, every wall in its properties, I have assigned as a stage 1 as a node, because I need to differentiate which one. Every element has a stage 1, stage 2, stage 2, stage 3. So what I've done, I just put this one in a marquee, and I selected all walls and put this node stage 1 into all walls, and I selected roof, slabs, and so on and so on. You can see this bit is not overriding. So I'm going to select, and I'm going to put into its properties stage 2, but I can see my node is missing, because when I click on the roof, just want to show you where the node lives. I got in general ratings, I'm my node. So in properties, document, options, property manager, I have to add general ratings, the node. I'm going to edit. I'm going to add that whatever it is. Let's just check what classification does this is. So classifications. It's a pipe segment gutter element classification like C4. Okay, so we can go. Pipe. Pipe segment gutter. There you go. Okay, and this will be added to our properties of that element, but this should be done only with the permission of your ERP manager or whoever has the power. So don't go and change that, because you can change things you shouldn't change. So I'll just type stage 2, and it should automatically override itself to be purple. What about section? How can we make it pretty? So I got 2D and I got a 3D section cut at the same spot. So graphic overrides. Let's just completely create a new combination. I'm going to create new, call it section. Okay, and I'm going to put the new rules. So first rule is, let's say, cut, simple. And I'm going to tell Archicad I want to override everything but the windows and doors. So I can exclude door, and another one. Element type is not window, and so it's like a scheduling, setting up the criteria. And I'm overriding surface and only override the cuts. In 2D, maybe we'll see if we need a line, but fill type, it's gonna be a solid. I'm overriding only cuts, so activating only cuts button, cut fills, foreground and background, black, black. And I don't want to override the thickness of the pen, which I'll set to 0.15 mils. I just want to override the pen color. Okay, so let's click OK, and this rule will be applied to this view. My bad. Not Africa, that's the translucent surface. So black. Here we go. But I will probably exclude the mesh as well. and we want to big blob the mesh. So I'm going to exclude, and element type is not mesh. Here we go. What I can do is now for the uncuts, so whatever is not cut, I want to have just white. So I'm going to create a new word, and I'm going to duplicate this time the cuts. Where is it? And I'll rename it to uncut, because it saves me time to put all these in. But this time I can delete the mesh because I want it to be white, and deactivating deleting drafting fills and color fills, and bring the white into uncut. Okay. Let's see. Alright, so now I got everything else. Whatever is not cut is white. Then I can exclude something. For example, I would like to see plywood maybe. So in that uncut, I'm going to exclude the surface. So I can exclude surface does not contain. Let's do full sheet. There's there you go. So everything what has that surface will be excluded from that white. So we can make this section really interesting in 3D. And let's look at so we have to do little changes in our section. I'm going to duplicate and delete. Okay. Because uncut I can just remove and it should be alright. Okay. You notice that our mesh is black, but in my 3D I have excluded mesh, but this is just that 2D fill place. So, and I'm overriding the cuts, I'm overriding the dark cuts only. So if I change that to fill, it will change itself to the one overrided fill. So this is just a simple fill. Somehow it's excluded, or just if you want to keep it as a building material, you can just exclude that by exclude building material does not contain whatever fill was that to exclude it. So that's pretty much the graphical lines. I believe there is more things you could do with it, but it's a simple tool. It doesn't do any calculations or anything. It's just basically overriding your graphics into your model. That's what it does. That's all it does. We enjoy it, and now I'll hand it back to Nathan for Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that presentation, Barbara. For those that are new to the event and haven't seen me at the start of a Q&A session yet, to participate in the chat, please put your questions in the chat, and to do so, you first need to just register. This is a specific need that Vimeo has We're not taking any of your details, don't worry. It's just so you can participate and see the questions that are coming up on the screen. So please put the questions on the screen now. We saw a lot of chatter early on, Barbara, a lot about getting excited about Damien likes your attributes view, missing attributes view. I think that's also something that, you know, it's all about quality control and checking to make sure that the model's right, and that's something we saw previously with Matt's presentation with NBS and using that, but this is also another methodology. There's a lot of conversation around from Bernarda and Paul and David in and around dimensions and trying to find those messy little custom dimensions. It'd be interesting to know David's point there regarding the criteria, whether it's static or not, whether it actually works. It's kind of a challenging thing to try and find whether or not people try to cheat the system or not. So Damien says he's been using it. We should use that for identifying windows that don't have types or properties filled. So that's something they could do. Oh yeah, that's a bit of DKO internal communication on our chat. Francois, Barbara, what item shows the color block in the key schedule that you placed last? So what in the schedule? What property are you calling up in the schedule to provide that color?
Oh, that one is exactly the same. It's just overriding the cover field, basically. That's all. And it's using exactly the same override, graphic override, as the one you are using on the plan or in 3D. So
what property are you bringing up in the interactive schedule to display that?
Oh, that's just a top view.
Top view.
You know how you got the inner schedule window and those schedule? Yeah, how you can see like elevation?
Yep.
That's the top view, basically.
Yep. So Damien's asked whether or not you have a naming convention for graphic overrides and their rules to help sort them by use.
Yeah, you definitely should have a naming convention. That's what I learned from Nathan. That's very important. And mine was, it's just, you know, I was all over the place, so please don't look at mine.
So that was last minute rush to put a presentation together rather than use logic.
Naming convention went out of the window, yes.
So that is the truth, and I think that's the problem sometimes that we find ourselves in a position whereby we rush things through, and then realise that had we put a bit more energy and effort into the naming, and the list keeps growing, and when you start doing that, you end up having to do it twice. But yes, that's a very good point, Damien. Damien asked another question: what standard materials and pens do we add or modify to your template just for graphic overrides? So I think, I'm trying to read into this question, I think it's more so, I think he's asking the question in regards to, for example, you know, you brought up the consultant's surfaces to override those certain elements. I think that's what he might be talking about.
With this, we never do this visual check in our main file. We always like have a rubbish file. You just use it and abuse it, you know, and you don't care about your attributes. And then you visually check your model. You bring all the consultants or shop drawings into one rubbish Archicad file and just visually check it. And that's it. Like if you want to bring it into your main file, you have to first clean it and then bring that model into your main file. Yeah. That
was a very cheeky way. The terminology's changed in the last 2 years since I left Fulton Trotter, but I think what Barbara's trying to say there is that to prevent contamination from consultants' IFC files, you bring it into a clean project template file.
That's the word.
Not into a rubbish file. I think you got excited with the terminology there, but that idea means that you can go through and you can cleanse it. So the surfaces and the building materials that are built into that workflow and template are there for each of the individual consultants' files that we normally receive.
Correct.
So therefore you are cleansing it, and typically that can be done within the IFC importer. So you can actually do that within the importer. So Michael wants to know, have you found a way to graphic override walls that are not snapping to a grid or is out of a fraction of a degree? That would be great for QA.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Have you got a solution or not?
I didn't think of it, yes.
What's your solution?
I'm going to... I'm going to test it. Yep.
You're going to test it right now, and I haven't even set up.
No. Oh my God, no.
No. Well, actually, in all honesty, I know Link Ellis from BIM6X has a label, I believe, a library part that he has that I've seen through various Slack channels where he's talked about where you can apply that label globally across all of the elements, and it pops out and highlights elements if they're out from certain degrees. So I think that's actually a non-graphic override approach, but a labeling approach to actually QAing items that are placed. Cornelius, no idea that graphic overrides could do that so much. Bernarda's happy. It was great. Didn't know about the criteria of the missing attributes.
Yeah, that's a new thing. It wasn't in 22. Not sure it was 24. I think it's the new thing they added in 24.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good.
It's all of those little small features that are non-features but are incremental improvements of tools that can really help things out.
Yeah, very good. I wish there is one thing I wish they would, how in Schedule you can add selection criteria from like a library part.
Yes.
If that would be a part of the graphic overrides, it would make it even better.
Yeah. It's probably a performance issue. That's typically the reason why things don't make it into the final cut. But Cornelius wants to know, can overrides change line types and thicknesses?
Yes, it can. You know how when you're overriding on the top, the lines, so you're applying the color and the thickness as well. You know how you got your pen set and the color has thickness. So yeah, and there was these two like radial buttons at the bottom. You can choose if you are overriding only color or if you are overriding color and thickness as well.
Yeah, so essentially, Cornelius, what that means is you can change the line type based on certain elements and the pen type. So that's where you get your thickness from. The thickness isn't, you can't change the thickness uniquely. It's actually by the pen type, so you can change the pen. Nora, sometimes when I explode my DWG drawing in Archicad, it doesn't appear on the existing plan, but on the new construction plan. Links there, I could see that one below. But doesn't appear on the existing. That might be because when you've brought that DWG in, that would be on the new renovation setting. So when you brought those elements in, it's been coming in on the new elevation, on the new element setting. That's possibly why that's doing that. Not that that has to do with graphic overrides, Nora, I'm sorry, but I think that might be the challenge. We should have just an open Q&A hour. Maybe I should try and do that. Maybe we do that at 9 a.m. tomorrow when we need to have a few beers or something, and we run an open Zoom chat or something. Yes, Link, thank you, mate. That element orientation check label, it's cool, and I think that's a very clever library part. Do you want to comment in there, Link, about where you can get that from? If it's just available for your customers as a BIM6X customer or not. Bernarda, I like Nathan's term of dumb lines. Well, yeah, I'm pretty laid back. Okay, so Francois, that color key color field is 2D plan preview. Yep.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yep. So that's all good. So any other further questions for Barbara? Any last questions at all? No, I think that might be it for today.
Yeah, it's a very easy tool. Like there is not much to it, so yeah. But it's just come up with the ideas how to use it. It's the most difficult thing to do.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, though, Barbara. And Link's just posted a link to that other one. So there's many different ways in which you can audit your file, and I think from memory, and I can't remember exactly clearly, there are a number of other people that are presenting today that kind of talk about auditing as well. So there are many different ways. Graphic overrides is a very powerful way of doing it and producing the different graphical outputs. And there's some really other good examples as well from the guys from Enzyme that they've used in presentations from a couple of years ago, where they were excessively using graphic overrides when they came out to produce some really high-end graphics for their concept design presentation. Link's put the link in the chat, bimcomponents.com, for that label that James Murray made. So that's another kind of hit tip to be able to add to your essentially your toolbox of Archicad tools and the like. But Barbara, thank you very much for your contribution today. Thank you very much for your presentation. And, you know, it's good to have you back for your second ARC Intensive, your second public speaking arrangement. I hope you can participate in the rest of the day. And I hope everyone can have a nice lunch break now. We've given you a 10-minute lunch break before our next session. So thanks a lot, Barbara. And we'll see you all back here in 10 minutes. Thanks a lot.